I got a request to nap some Keokuk on video. Now, I got a couple pieces here, well, several pieces. This is from Michael in Ohio. Thank you very much. I don't know if this is heat treated or raw. Michael actually sent me two pieces. I think the first piece that I napped was raw. Uh, and I had some difficulty with it because, I wasn't used to it. And also I was experimenting with steel on the Keokuk. It's been a while since I napped it, so I wasn't sure how the different tools would work. It's pretty steppy. If you don't have experience with it, if it's heat treated, it's very consistent. If it's raw, some areas are going to be chalky, I think. I think that's a good generalization. It could be wrong. I'm going to take a few pieces off of this to see if this feels any different from that first piece that Michael sent me. Let's see. Yeah, it feels a little bit different. Yeah, this might be heat treated. If he sent me a note, I don't know where it is, so I can't look at it. Okay, and I've also got some pieces Dave Tenbear sent me. I don't know if this is heat treated either. The reason why I say that is most Keokuk is heat treated. It naps very well when it's heat treated. Now I think I have recommended this for beginners, mainly because it's cheap, but also because it's easy to nap. I remember some of my first good thin arrow points were made from Keokuk, some Cahokia style points. So yeah, this probably is heat treated, but we'll see. I'm not that good at telling a difference, and I think there's a range. Sometimes it can be overcooked, sometimes it can be undercooked. I don't know the temperature ranges for that because I don't normally heat treat Keokuk. Because I don't get much of it. I would if I got a lot of it. Let's see. It is very fragile, so I've got to be careful with direct percussion on this stuff. This is aluminum, by the way. I don't know why, but some people think that these aluminum tools are copper. I don't know if it's the lighting or what, but this is aluminum. If I use something silvery, these are aluminum. Same with this one. This is copper for the tip here. Anyway, I hope you can see the color difference well on video. Now, why am I using direct percussion on this? Just so I can see the effect. I usually start with direct percussion. When you hit the end, it's good to put your finger or some kind of support on the other end. It doesn't always help, but it usually does, to prevent it from snapping, or to prevent end snap. But yeah, it's a lot better, I think, to use indirect percussion on this stuff. It doesn't shock the piece as much. And if you're just tuning in, a lot of my work is all about trying to preserve as much of the piece of stone as possible. We'll see how it works out with this one. Hitting on the tip is dicey, risky. You don't want to take really big flakes off, because it will snap. So it's just got some thickness at the tip. Just whittle it down. You know, lower the platform or the edge or whatever. That streak that just went by, that was Kevin. He wants to be on film, apparently. It's chasing something. Hopefully there's not a mouse in here. Hopefully it's just a random moth or something. Once you get one mouse, the other mice are not far away. Yeah, this one feels heat treated. But anyway, if you buy Keokuk, a lot of times you can specify or have the option of heat treated or not. When I buy stone and there's an option, I usually always get the heat treat. It just saves me time. And I'll knock off a small flake like this, like I did here, and nap the flake first. Knock off some more flakes and nap the flakes first, and then go to the larger piece. If you start with a large piece and you nap only that large piece and then start getting it down to a smaller biface, and you try to nap it from this stage down to about this stage, you're going to have trouble keeping it thin, because the dynamics of thinning change as the preform gets smaller and smaller. For those of you who didn't know, it's easier to run flakes, first of all, on a larger piece. It doesn't break as often. It also has more mass, so when you hit it, it resists the hit, so a lot of the energy goes into the actual removal of the flake. If it doesn't resist, if it's lightweight, there's no resistance because of the mass, it tends to move away from the strike. You know what I mean? And you lose energy that way. So you got to increase the speed of the strikes as it gets smaller in general. Which also can lead to hitting too hard and breaking the whole thing. As it gets smaller, So I recommend working the flakes first. And just keep removing flakes from the biface and work that flake. Remove another flake, work that flake. Don't try to reduce the biface down to one point. As a beginner, build up your skill with the flakes. All right. But of course, most guys won't do it that way. They want to try to make a large knife blade from a large piece of stone as a beginner. They see everyone on YouTube doing it, so they say to themselves, why not? Doesn't look that bad. Yeah, well, after a lot of experience, it looks easy. And it took me a long time to avoid step fractures. So it may look easy when I do it, but it's all muscle memory and a lot of practice. It's not something I can think about and then do it. You know what I mean? It's not like writing an essay where you think about it, you plan it out, and you, as long as you follow certain rules and you write it out, a new guy writing an essay is going to write the same way, usually, pretty much, as a guy that's been writing essays for a long time. If you follow rules and you're, normally good at writing and stuff like that. But with mapping, even if you're normally good with handicrafts and you've been watching a lot of guys doing it, you know the rules and all that, you're not going to be able to flint knap as a beginner the way you think you can. It's not like writing an essay. There's a lot of muscle memory involved. A lot of subconscious activity. And yes, you can access your subconscious. There are philosophers that say the subconscious is not accessible. That is wrong. You can't access everything in your subconscious, and that's a good thing, because the subconscious stores a huge amount of information. You don't want to have access to all of it. It's overwhelming. You let your conscious mind be the arbiter of what your subconscious is manifesting. There's a bit of an overlap between the subconscious and the conscious. Let's say this is the conscious mind on the right, subconscious on the left. Subconscious stores a lot more for immediate use than your conscious. They're not totally separate. Like some people think there's a total separation line between the two. Okay? And some people will say that the subconscious makes all the decisions. The conscious is just there for the ride. All right? What you learn in flint knapping and what you learn in other handicrafts is that the subconscious and the conscious are integrated. There's an overlap. There's an accessibility and an influence on each. And they're intertwined. They're not separate like this, where this is the one in control and this one just obeys, or vice versa. There's an integration, there's an overlap, and I can recognize when my subconscious is doing something, and my subconscious knows when my conscious is doing something. They learn from each other, they can respond to each other, and they exist together. When I'm working on this point, both my subconscious and conscious are working at the same time. It's not only one controlling the other. Okay. I just want to get that out there. Maybe some anthropologists can add their 2 cents. I'm not a determinist. I don't believe in deterministic activity for life forms. I think life forms are autonomous, and not deterministic for the most part. Maybe the most simple life forms are virtually indistinguishable from chemical processes, just purely physical chemical processes that have no autonomy. But life forms have developed ways to survive, and that requires some independent thinking, or independent decision making, or autonomy. So that's why I say life forms are autonomous. Okay. That includes man, by the way. Obviously. Mankind, or humankind. I know saying mankind is out of fashion these days. I do watch my language sometimes, but when it comes to that sort of thing, the gender thing, I'm not that concerned about it. I got a phone call. I'll be right back.